You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
You letting us talk again? Oh.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Oilersnation Radio, episode 60, part 2. Part 2.
En français.
Of course, today is a very special episode.
It's the Bisaillon episode, finally.
It is the Sebastien Bisaillon interview episode.
This is massive for me, you guys. I'm so fucking excited.
Tyler has been talking about Sebastien Bisaillon for weeks now, and
Months.
we finally got him. We finally got him.
He's excited too.
It wouldn't have happened without our friends at Sherwood Ford. Actually, they hooked us up with Sebastien Bisaillon.
Yeah.
Drew from Sherwood Ford.
Go follow them on Twitter at Sherwood Ford and on Instagram at Sherwood Ford _the Giant. Make sure to support the Nation and Sherwood Ford team for Movember. I'm looking around the room and Dan doesn't look a whole lot different. No Shave November is raging on for him. Nick looks great with that handlebar mustache.
His facial hair is almost taking over the mustache now.
Are you going to clean everything up? Yeah, you're going to keep...
Weekly, I think. You should clean it up weekly.
Yeah, I think
On
it looks
the
really
show.
good. Oh, we just get a shave down maybe?
That's
That'd
fine.
be nice.
The old ASMR?
Sport Clips, they're a sponsor of Two Guys and a Goalie. Get them down here.
Absolutely. That's some synergy, brand synergy. Dan, what else is going on at Sherwood Ford this month?
It is Stuff a Truck Month. So you can take down your toys to the Sherwood Ford crew and they will fill up a truck. And then I believe we're going to fill up the Nation truck and take it to the Strathcona. I want to say, I'm not going to say wrong. So they're going to take it to a worthy charity in Strathcona and they're going to fill up some hampers for families that are in need this holiday season.
You were doing some unloading this past week with our friends at Sherwood Ford. Tell us about that.
So last month, you remember if you've listened to the podcast, that
of course
it was
you do.
We Scare Hunger Month in October, and so I went down with the boys at Sherwood Ford to Ford Hall, and we talked to some kids there that all around the Edmonton area. They were collecting up food, and they collected 17,000 pounds of food for the food bank here in Edmonton, and I got to meet one Leon Draisaitl for just a moment.
Did you tell him you were from Oilers Nation?
I did. So the way it happened, David from Sherwood Ford set it all up. This was their event, so I wasn't going to bother Leon at all, but David's like, I'm going to ask him. I was like, okay. So I started pulling off my hoodie, and David asked him if it's okay if we take a photo, and then I'm like mid-stripping down, and so Leon was very confused as to what was going on. And I just explained that I have a special shirt from Oilers Nation on, if it's okay. And he's like, yeah, man, whatever. And so he takes the photo with us, and then he just goes off and does his own thing. Everybody was messaging me afterwards being like, what's Leon like in person? I'm like, I don't know. He said, yeah.
just
He
made
didn't
something
care.
up.
He wasn't like, oh, that's a sweet shirt, man.
No, I think the shirt, the photo was absolutely perfect. The lighting was perfect.
It was.
Leon was probably just taken aback by the pink.
You looked
and the
great.
green.
That's the second version of that shirt, but he sent home probably 7 or 8 of the first version.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah. Mr. Mandrick once approached him in an establishment and showed him the shirt.
We've actually had a
And we
few
set 'em up.
Nation citizens send us pictures of them with the first flavor of Neon Leon shirts, taking pictures with them.
Our goal right now has to be track down those James Neal friends that kept telling him about what was going on.
Yeah.
Because they need some real steel shirts.
No doubt.
Well-
And a little teaser for all of you. There could be, in my opinion, a third flavor of Neon Leon shirts coming very shortly.
Ooh, rumors.
That's exciting.
Know what else is exciting, Tyler?
Our interview with one Sebastien Bisaillon, who is, let me type in the 47-digit French phone number right now, hit the call button on my phone, rack up some long distance charges, and bring in our good friend.
Overseas calling is available on request. To obtain this feature, please contact customer service by
had to set
dialing
up your phone.
*611.
You screwed up. *611.
Oh, we're just
We're
working as we go here.
We're taking
Should I
you guys
ask him to
behind
call
the
me?
scenes.
I could
Dial.
Skype call him, right?
Yeah.
His number?
Yeah. You should be able to.
We could also send out like a carrier pigeon and hope
this has
that
to be
it.
kept in.
This is a
Arrives.
very professional
Parts
podcast.
of this.
Calls.
If you
Yeah.
don't know what Tyler does for his day job, he is actually a producer at a real radio station.
I like
and
how
I'm
he's-
assuming that this happens all the time at TSN.
Yeah, so I got to
He's
go from
narrating
Canada.
what he's doing too.
I got to go from Canada to France.
Overseas
recommend
phone calls.
just trying random phone
do you think
numbers
a
and see if
plus
you can get in
means?
touch with Bisaillon.
Is your toilet turned right?
I think this is going to work.
Oh my God.
Nope.
What's happening?
That didn't sound healthy.
That sounds like an international dial tone to me.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, the different countries have different ones.
All right, we have a Mary Brown's Poppin', brought to you by Mary Brown's, and their bite-sized morsels of 100% breast meat, chicken coated in Mary's seasoning, served hot, crispy, so yummy. You can even choose Thai for a kick of sweet heat. And our guest on the line from France, this is great. We got a little bit of European flavor joining the podcast, Sebastien Bisaillon, the former Oiler. Sebastien, how's it going, man?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. How's the season been going for you so far in France this year?
So far, so good. We've got a good team again this year, and we're going to try to repeat what we did last year. We ended up winning last year, so we've got a pretty good team on paper again this year, and so far we've been doing well and started the year with the CHL, the Champions League. So we were part of that because we won last year, and so we had a rough start playing those teams from Finland, Sweden, and we had Bern from the Swiss League. And other than that, in our league, we've been doing good. So far, so good.
Since this is an Oilers podcast, I have to ask you: did you go up against Jesse Puljujarvi in that tournament?
Yeah, actually, we did. We played Carpet, so we got to play against him. And I forget the kid's name. The first pick last year, the Demon they got, we played against them as well. Against Charlotte. They're both pretty good. Obviously, I know there's a little bit of controversy with Puljujarvi, but it was pretty neat to play against them.
A little might be underselling it. The first topic I wanted to get to you with, you played in the American Hockey League a lot. Going overseas to France now, you spent some time in Germany. What's the biggest difference between playing in the American League and getting into a pro league in France in terms of the style of play?
Well, it's a little hard to compare like the German league versus the French league, and like different countries, different leagues have different styles of play. Like if you, let's say, talking about Finland and Germany, for example, they're somewhat similar to the style of hockey we play back home because it's pretty physical, a little more north-south, and there's other leagues where they play a little more puck possession, don't want to get rid of the puck, and so I'd say the physicality for sure is not the same as the game back home. And playing on the bigger ice here, you don't have like sort of like the mentality where any shot's a good shot and pretty much could be a scoring chance. So sometimes you want to hang on to the puck a little more and try to get on the inside. But I mean, hockey's hockey. Stupid answer and a little boring, but less physical play. There's no fighting allowed, so some guys tend to be a little tougher, and they run around and talk a little more when they get here. I'm sure they would have been more quiet playing at home. No, for the most part, I'm not saying there's no hitting, but it's definitely less physical and a little more puck possession. Okay. In general, so you'll have, obviously, like I can't put all the countries, all the leagues, all the teams in the same boat, but in general, that's what you're going to see a little more.
That's interesting to hear, Sebastien. I as a guy that runs hockeyfights.com, I'm curious to know, like you said, guys, you find they're a little bit, is there a little bit more kind of grease to the game, or is it just a lot more smack talk and a lot more toughness feel to the game? Is it? Which one is it? Yeah. I mean, like some guys.
We may have lost Sebastien.
Tyler.
My question was too hot.
Tyler did not pay his phone bill. Are you not paying
your phone bill?
Tyler didn't pay his phone bill, and we lost Sebastien. We are going to try to reconnect here. Perhaps, maybe we'll have to send whoever Tyler's provider is some money.
It's Skype, man.
You can blame Skype all you want, man.
Don't worry.
I'm going to raise you right. I'm going to teach you about paying your bills on time.
That's fascinating, though.
His minutes ran out.
It is fascinating to hear.
His phone card ran out.
To hear without fighting, from a perspective of a guy.
Tyler needs to switch to a different burner.
Yeah.
This one's out of minutes.
But it is neat to hear. I don't know if we're going to include this or not, but it is neat to hear that a guy that, you know, came up in the AHL where guys are able to fight and still hold dudes accountable. But he's saying that it ain't so much over there.
How did it make you feel when you heard him say there's no fighting allowed over here? Did you just have a little...
It doesn't surprise me.
But did you have... Did a part of you just kind of cringe a bit, Dan?
Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure. I run a website I know that for sure. I didn't know that specifically about the league that he's in, but yeah, it is fascinating to hear.
Tyler,
This is actually what happened. Tyler's pulling on his credit card right now. As it turns out, he did not pay his bill. So we lost a guest on the Mary Brown's Pop-In because Tyler does not pay his phone bill.
Tyler, is this real? Are you paying your phone bill right now?
This is real.
He's adding Skype credits. Did you get like a free 5 minutes to Skype and then that's it? Oh,
No, Sebastian thinks that we were bored of him, I bet.
Tyler.
I can't wait to rat you out for not paying your phone bill. I can't wait to rat him out.
$5 at a time.
What? What kind of baby card you got there?
I can only add $5 into Skype at a time, so we got cards being processed, anti-spam, blah, blah, blah.
So you're going to be adding minutes as we go?
All right, let's try this again.
I look forward to hearing how...
Ross only trusts him with...
Here we go with Sebastien Bisaillon, part deux.
I'll
get that Euro dial
Super
back.
fun.
There you go. We are. Oh, hey, sorry, man. We just we lost connection there.
Sebastian, the real story is that Tyler doesn't...
sorry about that.
No, that's not your fault. The real story here is that Tyler doesn't pay his phone bill.
That's such a lie.
Oh, man, classic.
Yeah, ran out of long distance minutes.
So sorry, you got interrupted answering my amazing question. I'll phrase it again for you.
No, I was gonna say there's nothing too crazy going on. Like there's not a lot of cheap shots, but it's just like sometimes if it does happen, I'm thinking like, okay, like if fighting was allowed or if you were playing in whatever league back home, there for sure after looking up like guys on the lead prospects or whatever and the stats before games, like if a guy has like 8 penalty minutes and every year or whatever, and the guy's running around and chirping guys all over the ice, like you can do the math and figure out what's going on. That's all I'm saying. And no, I'm not a fighter myself. I think fighting's good. I don't think that's another debate, but I don't think they should get rid of fighting in hockey. I like it. It's part of the game. But by no means I was a fighter, if it happened, it happened. But I remember being on the ice, like in the AHL, and there were like 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that could beat the crap out of me. So I wasn't going to go and run around and try to chirp those guys or whoever was on the ice. So there's a little bit of that in Europe. And if you do fight, then you're looking at, 10 plus 10 plus 2 or whatever they feel like giving you that night. So basically your game's a write-off if you do fight. So it's not a whole lot of fighting and a little bit of guys running around, but it's not too bad. I don't want to make it sound like it's a terrible thing. It just does happen a little bit.
For an offensive defenseman like yourself, Sebastian, what was the biggest transition or the biggest lesson for you in terms of going from playing on the North American ice to the bigger ice over in Europe?
I think for me, it wasn't about getting used to the size of the ice, because that was a few years ago. I'm trying to think right now, because I was going to say it took me a while to get used to the game in Germany, and then I came back to North America. Then I went to Austria, and the game was a little different. But I'd say in general, hockey as a whole changed in the last few years, and you see a lot of D's getting more involved in the rush and in the offense, and in the offensive zone, you don't hear okay, you got to stay on the blue line and don't move, or chip it off the glass, or sometimes it is the right play. But I'm for me, I think it's about watching games on it's a little hard with the time change, but watching the games in the NHL and seeing how the these get involved, and even on the offensive cycle. And if I want to stay relevant, because I take pride in playing well defensively, and coming up through the system, I learned how to play what I thought was the right way, or at least the right way at the time. But I just want to keep evolving, and it's more like in the last, I'd say, like 5 years, you see like D-man jumping in the rush even more, and all the teams that we play against, any league, they play well defensively. They always have the F3 high, so you have to have like your one or both these jumping in the rush if you want to create some offense 5-on-5. So I think for me, the biggest adjustment was in the last few years, 5 years or so, trying to stay up to date with the game, trying to evolve, and like I said, stay relevant, you know.
Looking through your hockey DB list here, like there was a lot of different AHL cities for you. You mentioned going over to Europe at first. You bounced around to a few different leagues and places. How nice has it been for you personally to be in the same spot here for the last 5 years and just kind of be settled down a bit in your career?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And for years I moved around, and like not having a kid or having one kid was much easier. Whether it was my choice to move on or the team not wanting to re-sign me, I did, like you said, move quite a bit. But now I've got 3 kids, so it makes things a little harder to move from one city or one country to the other. But not only it's nice to have some stability now, finally, and been with this team here in Grenoble for 5 years. But it's great to be here. It's a great city. The rink's nice. We have good fans, and everything about the team, from the ownership to the staff to my teammates, everything is. I couldn't be happier. So, like I said, it's great to be in one city year after year. But to do it here is even better, and I wouldn't do it otherwise.
Sebastien, you are our favorite number 60 Edmonton Oiler of all time. Just so you know, that's
the only one, eh?
No, you're one of 2 now.
Marcus Granlund has it this year, and he has not been making a good impression early. So I think you're safe.
Well, we're curious. Did Marcus Granlund call you and ask you if it's okay to wear your number?
Yeah, but he did offer to buy me a nice watch, so I let it slide.
Okay, nice. Now there was the big event, Sebastien, with the end of Rexall, and our friend Drew at Sherwood Ford told us that you turned down that offer to come to that. Do you feel like you're a part of the Oilers? Yeah. Like you're a part of our lore, and we fans love you, and your story was so unique because you got the call up from Junior, an emergency call, and then I know you know in your time in the AHL you had some injury issues and just bad timing with a potential call up here or there. Do you feel like you're an Edmonton Oiler forever kind of thing, or is it just kind of part of your life that you know you just keep going on with?
You know, that's a pretty good question, and I've never been asked that before. I feel, first, to answer the comment about Rexall, for me, I played 2 games, and I'm really grateful towards the organization because they gave me a chance. They offered me a contract. I got to play in the NHL because of them. I met my wife there, have kids. Like everything happened because of them. So I'm forever grateful. But I've like over the years, like I've got mixed feeling about the games that I played because I don't know if it's going to sound weird, but it feels like awkward to me when I talk about it with guys or guys that I know that are better than me or would have deserved it more. I kind of like feel weird and awkward about it because I got called up from juniors and I didn't have to go through the grind in the AHL to really earn and deserve that call up. So on one hand, I'm really, like I said, happy and grateful, and I can say I played 2 games. But at the same time, I didn't fully earn the shot at playing in the NHL. And about that night with Rexall, I could only put myself in like Gretzky's shoes or Messier or all those legends, and if they see me rolling around the red carpet or whatever they had going on that night, looking at me and like, who's this pigeon? Like 2 games, and I don't know. I respect everyone that went. I get it. It was a big event, but I couldn't really see myself going there. And plus, I'm not a big fan of like huge crowds and stuff like that, so I'd rather watch from the outside.
Well, personally, I would say that I think you did earn it. You've played 2 more NHL goals than anybody sitting in on this games than anybody sitting in on this podcast right now.
Absolutely,
so I wouldn't undersell your time here, my friend. My question for you though is, what were those couple of days like for you in terms of getting the phone call from the Oilers that they needed you on the emergency basis? Like, what can you describe and walk us through what that was like for you from getting the call to stepping on the ice for the first time in a National Hockey League rink?
Yeah, it's funny because like I almost feel like it didn't happen, but I do remember like little details about like everything and how it unfolded and stuff. And basically, I was eating my pregame meal, getting ready to play our very last game of the regular season back in Val-d'Or. And not that my English is perfect right now, but my English was atrocious back then. And I got a call from Scott Housen. I think he was the assistant GM at the time. And he's like, can you make it to Ottawa tonight and catch this flight at like 7:30? And we might need you tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, is that a joke? Am I understanding everything? And I had nightmares about training camp because some of my French buddies during training camp, they prank called me and pretended like they were Kevin Lowe or something. And they're like, yeah, can you tell because I just got the contract offer from the team, and I knew like it smelled fishy from the first second I got the call. But again, my English was terrible and they were speaking English, so they're like, yeah, tell your agent that it's not gonna work for the contract and whatever. So when I got the call, fast forward to that phone call, I was like a little suspicious / I didn't understand everything he was telling me. And he's like, Scott Housen said, hang on a second, I'll put Kevin Lowe on the line and he'll speak French to you because he's from the Montreal area.
Yeah, okay.
And so I did talk to him for a second on the phone, and he's like, yeah, basically just drive to Ottawa and hop on the plane. And I can't remember if they said I was going to play for sure the next day, and I was so clueless. I remember showing up to the airport and eating a bunch of crap, at the airport, and burgers and poutine.
Yeah,
I didn't care at the time. And so I showed up at morning skate the next day, and I still didn't know if I was going to play or not. And we had the pregame meeting, and Craig McTavish walked past me, and he's like, make sure you're on the ice at 10 with the guys for the power play, and just get ready. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm playing tonight. And went on the ice and practiced with the boys, and I was pretty intimidated, but I think everything sort of hit me when the puck dropped. I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to have to go on the ice in about 2 shifts now. What am I going to do? And I thought I had the best seat in the rink. And then it was time to I'd sort of like learned a few lessons during training camp. And I just not to be impressed and, make sure my execution is like, everything is like fast and quick and crisp. And because that was a few months after training camp, I feel like when I I'd spent a little bit of time there at training camp when I signed as a free agent, and I felt like I was getting better every day and getting used to the speed and like passes and everything. Like I said, the execution is just something else when you're practicing day in and day out with those guys. And at some point I got comfortable, or more comfortable, and then I went back to those sort of thoughts and that mindset when I had to go on the ice and play, and I think I did all right for the most part.
Did you, despite the whole experience being a whirlwind from the phone call to getting to the NHL, did you get a couple of moments to just look around and enjoy yourself?
Not as much as I should have, and now that I'm older, I understand a lot more things. But at the time, I was young and naive, and like hockey was so important to me, and it was my life. But at the same time, it was a mix of, I didn't want to be staring at those guys like, oh my God, like, love this guy, watched him my whole life. And, you know, because I'd done that during training camp, and turns out it's really not a good mindset to have when you're supposed to be playing with and against those guys. So I was like trying to block everything out, and but not as much. I should have or could have enjoyed a little more, because I was fully aware that I might not ever be back. But you know what I mean? Like, it's, you don't want to show up like a tourist and start, you know, smelling the roses and everything and like taking pictures or whatever. So I did enjoy, but like everything happened so fast, and again, like I said, I was just trying to block a lot of things out and focus on whatever I had to do.
Sebastien, last place I wanted to go with you here. You played in Wheeling, Hamilton, Stockton, Springfield. Those were the 4 American Hockey League organizations. When you think about the AHL, like we've had a few guys on who have told us some pretty crazy stories, but looking back at your time there, is that one that stands out as like the most minor league story possible, whether it's like a mascot getting whatever onto the ice, a big brawl in a game, a bus breaking down somewhere? Is there one that stands out to you?
Yeah, well, whatever you just listed, all of the above. But everything happened. Like, in Wheeling was awesome. Our bus broke down, and the wiring, like, stuff caught on fire in the back there. Then I remember one time they give you like your per diem, and then you play on the road, and then every city they'll bring a menu from whatever pizza place they're going to order, and then you place your order, give them money, and then the food shows up after the game. And one time our coach, I guess we must have lost like a couple games in a row, and the coach was like, yeah, I want you guys to focus, and no headphones, don't be listening to your own music, blah, blah, and study the stat sheets, whatever. So all that talk, and then our trainer walks in the locker room right after. He's like, this sort of sad look on his face. He's like, hey boys, just want to let you know I'm really sorry, but the restaurant's out of the roast beef provolone sandwich. So you might want to place in a new order, whoever ordered that. I thought that was pretty funny, you know, like right after getting yelled at and make sure you're focused and think about the game, then all of a sudden you gotta start thinking about your roast beef provolone sandwich. That's I don't know, you kind of put me on the spot there. I should have thought, but like whatever is going on, like, and there are a lot of funny minor league stories, but there's a lot of that in Europe too. Well, trust me.
We'll have to have you on then for part 2, and we'll get to some of the good stories. Really appreciate your time today, Sebastien.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Good luck the rest of this year.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I think I cut him off a little at the end there. That's Whoops. My bad, Sebastien. Big thanks to Sebastien Bisaillon. He played 2 games in the NHL as an undrafted player. The amount of people who one ever get a sniff of like even major junior hockey, to then compare that to the guys who even get a sniff of the NHL, never mind undrafted guys. And now, like he said, like, oh, I felt like I didn't deserve it playing 2 games. Man, that guy's been playing pro hockey for 12 years now.
Now, that's what I was trying to say. Like, fuck that shit, man. Like, feeling like you deserve it. Of course, you got the chance to do something that not many players do. He went straight from junior into the NHL. It was an emergency recall, sure. But he did what he could to be prepped. He did what he could to play as best as he could. And he still has 2 NHL games on his resume, which not a whole lot of people do.
No one's ever going to go back through his elite prospects or hockey DB page and be like, fuck that, he didn't deserve it, and then just delete them. Like, those are there, man. Yeah,
like that was the only thing that if Sebastien and I were sitting down having a beer, I would say, man, you got to let that shit go.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I do admire his honesty though. Like it's a neat thing. We've seen it a couple times this week in the media with people being upset because they're giving some candor and then the media is taking it and running it with it. But it is interesting to hear his honest answer there.
Just an older way of thinking, I think. There's probably a certain age group where you kind of have to go through the rigors of what it's supposed to be to get there before you actually believe that you should be there.
Yeah. And as always, I want to thank our friends at Mary Brown's Chicken and Taters for this pop-in with their bite-sized morsels of 100% breast meat chicken coated in Mary seasonings and served hot, crispy, and oh so yummy. Choose Thai for a kick of sweet heat topped with sesame seeds and improve your life. Big thanks to Sebastien Bisaillon. Do you feel fulfilled now, Tyler? You've been talking about him for months.
Yeah, man, this is a big milestone for me. I love it. I loved it. I thought that was a great chat. I like the story. Coach is in there. You guys better focus. You better be no headphones. And the trainers walked in after. Hey, guys, no sandwiches. Hey, you need to take a look at the menu.
Interesting choice too. Like you always hear about like pasta and chicken or something, but like a roast beef provolone sandwich.
Well, is that like on the bus? Is that on the bus meal?
That's like after the game. They bring it in.
Yeah, they're gonna get. And it's probably. I mean. Well, it's going to be delivered, so you don't want that cold, right? Because you're going to be that toasted. It's probably really good, like out of the kitchen. But out of the kitchen into the car, through the dressing room, probably not going to be the greatest. You need that thing cold.
And I think anyone who's played junior hockey, not that I have, but I remember I talked to Andrew Peard, who's now the voice of the Oil Kings, but he was with the Whitecourt Wolverines for 5 years on the bus every away game, and he's like, man, I never want to look at a Boston pizza again in my life. Because after every game, like you mentioned the pasta and stuff, I think after a while you're just like, kill me if I need to order off another restaurant menu.
Maybe what we need to do is go to our friends at skipthedishes.ca and order some roast beef and provolone sandwiches and see how they travel to us.
From different shops around the area?
Yeah, we need to find them from different spots around the area. Obviously, there are thousands of restaurants listed at skipthedishes.ca. We're all hungry gentlemen. We all love a good roast beef sandwich.
With cheddar and curly fries.
Absolutely.
You guys are just using this to plug fucking Arby's.
Hey, Tyler's learning.
Tyler, even though you never played junior hockey, you still played hockey growing up. What would the reaction in the ride after a few losses for you be?
With my dad?
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I just assume his dad would make him run outside the car.
No, we just didn't talk. You guys keep thinking we had some. No, we'd sit in the car.
It was a quiet ride, if a win or a loss.
Like radio on or off?
No, usually on.
I just like the idea of dead silence in there.
That happened, man. I always played like the low levels of hockey because I just wasn't that good and I was small too. But I would always score a lot. I scored it was B8 hockey, but I scored a lot. I would score
or something.
Yeah, I would score 4 goals in a game. Sit down in the truck with my dad after, and he'd be like, "Your shifts were getting long at the end." Like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Don't celebrate like a jackass. Yeah, I know. I just got excited, and that was it.
Did you ever get to go to BP's for a little victory dinner?
Just me and my dad?
Yeah,
no, I remember the only time we ever had a meal, just the two of us together on like a road trip. We stopped at a Subway going out to a tournament in Jasper.
Did you guys just stare at each other? No words exchanged at all? Just
I get his order. He smokes a dart outside, and then I come back with the food. Nice. I'm really painting a poor picture of my father. He's a very loving human, just stern, serious, and bullshit.
We would really like to have him as a guest.
I know, but this isn't. He doesn't listen to this. He listens to Low Tide, and that's it.
That's okay. He can be on the podcast and not
Does he listen to Low Tide when you're hosting or only when Low Tide's hosting?
No, he listens when I host. I also feel like he thinks there's a slight legitimacy to my career right now. And he would walk into this basement and be like, Jesus, they're not even fucking paying you, are they?
These microphones aren't even plugged into anything.
Wait, you get paid for this?
I want to bring things back to the Edmonton Oilers here. Obviously, we spent the first, probably longer than I thought, talking to Sebastien. He had good stories.
He had with him, I wasn't sure exactly, how good his English would be because I never talked to him. He spent 5 years in France now. But he gave good, long answers. His English was really, really good.
Taking shots at his own English speaking.
Yeah,
and I'm like, better than us.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think he was just jacked up to get that type of an interview.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, a lot of those guys probably don't consider their NHL team, the fans even paying attention to them beyond the time when they leave. Like, he probably gave up on anybody in Edmonton who thinking about him 2 years after that game.
I got to imagine that he probably thinks that, like, if a guy ever heard, and I know he heard through the grapevine through his wife that we had used him for the 60-day countdown to the season, you got to think that they probably think that that's like tongue in cheek, but like literally,
yeah, this would be a rare thing. I mean, number 60. Come on,
he's number 60. He's our favorite.
He's with no one will. I will never have a number 60. I like more on the Oilers than Sebastien Bisaillon.
Heads and shoulders above today's guy.
Yeah,
he's actually been putting
toast.
He's been doing he had a couple good moments in the game against. I thought he was all right against Arizona. He had a couple nice moments against Pittsburgh. It was probably his best game. No, Arizona. What did he play? I don't. You know what? Actually, I don't remember. Fuck it. I take it all back. He's garbage.
Let's look ahead at tonight's game against the New Jersey Devils. Very exciting for me because it is my first time at Rogers Place this year. I'm excited about it. Going to see Tay-Tay. Going to see Jack Hughes.
Hey, we should meet up.
For a cocktail?
Yeah.
That'd be really nice. Can I meet your dad?
No, he curls tonight, so he didn't want to go to the game with me.
He's a curler,
man, that would have
too.
been sweet.
Good man.
That would have been sweet.
I love curling too.
Curling's great.
Absolutely. The Oilers have a couple of reinforcements coming into the lineup tonight. Riley Sheahan's back. Josh Archibald is back. They are on a line with Puljujarvi, which is set up as the third line right now, according to Jason Gregor's GDB. That's up at Oilersnation.com. My question for you guys, anybody surprised about Thomas Yaremchuk and Colby Cave getting sent down to Bakersfield yesterday?
Cave, no. Yaremchuk, I would like to have seen stay up.
I honestly thought it would be the other way around. Yaremchuk really hasn't done anything since the beginning. A little flash there, a couple of games. And I thought Colby Cave coming back, that he at least could be 13-14 type of
Colby
guy.
Cave McDavid with a big goal in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's not going to kill him to sit in the press box. I mean, he's kind of at that point in his career where he's a guy where you can put it be a 13-14 forward. But I kind of, Yaremchuk, whatever, he kind of had opportunities, never really took advantage of it. But as soon as Colby Cave came back, he's looked a little bit better. Therefore, that's a guy who's had the opportunity and kind of grabbing it and running with it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either way. I think we can all agree Haas is probably a better player than Colby Cave with more upside, right? So it makes sense that he's going to stay up here and stay in the lineup. Dave Tippett seemingly really, really likes Patrick Russell. And then you kind of look who else is Yaremchuk competing with. It's Kara. They're not sending down Kara anytime soon. Granlund's making 1.3 schmil. They're not going to send him down anytime soon, I don't think.
And he's not killing any penalties. Yeah. So you can't knock those guys out. You're really up against like two different guys. And at that point,
and what did Tippett say at the beginning of the year when they sent down Gagne? It was, if you're going to play in our bottom six, you need to be fast or you need to kill penalties. And Yaremchuk doesn't do either of those.
And Sam Gagne, speaking of him, he is not in tonight's lineup.
Which surprised me too, but I don't know. I didn't think he was that bad against St. Louis.
But I just don't like that that's the bar where it's like, he wasn't that bad.
No, but they need something better there.
I think Archibald coming back is a good thing for this team because he can burn. He can move and he can, create some shit on the forecheck.
Kills penalties.
I would like to see Chason get a night off. And
I'd like to see Granlund get a night off, but I just don't think that's going to happen as often as it should.
Well, let's look at the lineups right now. So what we've got is the first line stays the same. Draisaitl, McDavid, Kassian, no surprise there. Neal, Nuge, Chiasson is back together. I don't really know what I think about this trio based on the lack of speed on the wings.
I like the first two guys, and the third guy I think just doesn't kind of fit in. I think you need a better player there, and when Nygaard gets back, I think that's kind of his spot right there.
Neal just shoots the puck from everywhere, and I love that.
Good, we need it. He needs more of it, though.
Yeah, I think that's bang on, and I'm looking. Nugent-Hopkins is the guy circled tonight, right? That's who everyone's gonna have their eyes on.
Yep. Looking at the third line again, we've got Kara, Sheahan, Archibald. I like that kind of setup for what they do. I think there's the opportunity. If the bottom six is going to score a goal, I'm going to guess it's them.
That line's kind of been penciled together the whole time, minus all the injuries they've gone through.
Sheahan's post-practice interview from yesterday, he talked about how much those three enjoy playing together. So hopefully there's a little bit of chemistry there. On the fourth line, we've got Granlund on the left, Haas down the middle, Patrick Russell on the right side. Looking at them, I don't know where Sam Gagner fits in terms of this current configuration. Unless, like Dan said, Sheahan comes out and he slots in with Neil and Nuge, I guess.
Yeah.
That would have been my only move. But that's the only way you stay him and keep him in the lineup right now.
He's gonna be the 13th, 14th kind of guy that kind of gets popped in when somebody needs to go sit upstairs.
That's what he is at this point.
Yeah. Other than that, on this roster, there's not a lot of room for him.
I'm really excited for Nygaard to get back in the lineup too.
Please hurry up.
They do need some speed in the lineup.
They do.
He definitely has that burn.
That line needs some speed.
Are you putting him with Nuge and Neil then?
Yes, right away.
So you flip Neil to the right side?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
I like
on
that.
his off wing.
And then who would you go with? You'd go Sheahan, Archibald, Kara if they look good, stay together. Then Haas, Chase on Russell. I guess that'd be your fourth line when Nygaard's back if you want him in the top six.
I mean,
Granlund stays in, unfortunately, and
Russell slides
at that
out.
point,
Russell
you got to start looking at whether you can dump a guy like Sheahan or not. Just the contract wise, not the
It'd be nice to free up the $2 million and use it maybe somewhere else.
I mean, you're just getting to a point right now where we have too many of the same type of players trying to fill the same spot, and we're hoping for someone to do something different when we should know that they're not.
Speaking of potential and future lineup changes, friend of the nation, Reed Wilkins, tweeted out this morning that Adam Larsson is hoping to be back within the next week and a half or so. I think that's going to be an interesting add to the lineup because there's somebody on that right side is going to come out. Who is it going to be? Well, right now, you would have to think that Persson is not really in Tippett's good books, although he is playing tonight. Could he come out? And then Larsson is then with Clefbaum? Leave the third pairing as it is, or does Matt Bennett come out? Persson slide down? No. What do you guys think?
Person's out. I think he's in Tippett's bad books now.
Person's out. Yeah, you've got. He's just not there. You're gonna put Larsson there. You kind of like what you have where you have Benning, and he's whatever. You'll put him back up in the booth.
The only way that changes, in my opinion, is if you get to a point where Ken Holland has a trade offer that is like, hey, we're interested in Puljujarvi. Can you sweeten it? Give us Benning because we're a rebuilding team who wants a good young or a competent young right-handed shot defenseman. And there's a deal out there that improves your forward core. And you go, shit, you know what? Person's probably good enough to handle our third pairings if it means we're upgrading our D. But as long as Benning's in the organization, I think he's. And Tippett's spoken highly of Benning as well. He's ahead of Persson.
I also want to look at obviously New Jersey is in town.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Hall is a New Jersey Devil.
Is he?
He was asked about potentially coming back to Edmonton again, as he always is. His comment was, I haven't even thought about it. It's too hard to rule out or any teams at this point. Rick, go ahead.
Lies. There's no way he hasn't thought about it. I know your answer has to be down the middle. His answer is exactly what his answer is supposed to be. But there's no fucking way he hasn't thought about it.
Can you imagine the fire in this city if Hall would have came out today and been like, yeah, absolutely. You sit there and you look at McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge. I'd love to be back in blue and orange come September next season. I think it'd be a real full circle moment for me.
This city we'd honestly...
They would cancel the game tonight.
We'd be split in two and we had to go fight each other somewhere.
Mm. Yeah. Or if he came out and was like, nah, man, shithole. Now that I'm back here, I never want to come back again.
I would like to see that kind of just candor and personality coming out in these interviews. Because like Rick said, that's exactly the answer.
He can't. He just said something, got blown the fuck apart.
Yeah, he did.
Someone texted in today to the Lowdown show, and they were like, hate Hall, don't want him back, cancer in the room. So I responded, I was like, prove it. And they were like, look at his body language.
There's a lot of body
Everyone who
language.
says a cancer in the fucking room has no goddamn clue what they're talking about. I'm sorry. I know some of these guys. There's not that big of an issue. Yes, I'm sure he wasn't all roses and very PC and all millennial hugging everybody like everybody wants nowadays. But he is what he was. He's a very, very good player on the ice.
He's competitive.
Yeah, he wants to win. And when he's off the ice, then you know what? He's got his own group of friends, and some guys are going to fit in, some guys aren't. I'm guaranteeing you, he probably wasn't shitting on guys like they shat on Dougie Hamilton for wanting to go to museums way back then.
Yeah.
Well, and also, if you really break it down, at this point, he is a 27-year-old man. He's been gone for a few years now. Is there no opportunity for personal growth with some people?
Not in the minds of hockey fans, right? I'm sure there's a lot of Oilers fans who would look at Mike Comrie still and be like, "Fucking baby," right? Like,
he's got
people
that brick
change,
money,
man. Yeah, he's got that brick money.
But on that point, though, if Taylor Hall's 27 years old, he's almost exiting his prime at this point. Like, he's going to be a UFA for the first time in his career. It's going to be the only time he's going to be able to sign at, the most lucrative contract of his career, most likely, right? Somebody will offer him 6.
He did say he's not necessarily looking for money. Do you buy that, Nicholas Good?
I don't know, because I think it depends on players. I think there are players out there that definitely chase the paycheck and just want to get paid as much as they can. And there's going to be players that are willing to take the cut and go to a team and win a championship. Case in point, Marian Hossa kind of thing, right? Players are just as different as human beings are, right? Like, some people care about the glory and the legacy, and some frankly don't, and that's okay. Some guys thrive playing in a place like Edmonton or Montreal or Toronto, where there's a lot of pressure to succeed. And some guys don't, and that's fine. Like, whatever, they're entitled to follow whatever they want. And when you get to free agency, you're entitled, and you have the right to pursue whichever avenue you choose. And the way I look at it for Taylor Hall, if you've only ever played for 2 organizations in your life, and now you have the opportunity to be a free agent, why are you going back to the first one you went to? And why?
Because there's nothing like your first love.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, for a guy who has made the playoffs once in his career, went through a tire fire here, and now is going through the same thing in New Jersey. Yeah, things are better here now that we have McDavid and Draisaitl. But why put yourself through that again? Why open those old wounds? Like, just for him, for his sake, just go to, like, Florida.
Maybe
or, like,
go
to Tampa Bay, or, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe he just knows how good life can be at the Pint, and he just wants to come back home.
I guarantee you, he knows that. But I don't know. Am I out to lunch here? Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of weird to just be like, I played for Edmonton. Yeah, he didn't want to leave here. We went to New Jersey. Now he's a chance to come back. But, like, I don't know. Try something else.
Edmonton's trending up.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you mention him taking less money, I don't think he's going to look at Edmonton or any contender and be like, $8.5 million and you got me, especially when there's going to be a team that offers him 11. I think him saying it's not about money, he wants to go somewhere where he fits in and can contend. I think that's him saying, if one team's offering me 11, but the team offering like 10 or 10.5 is a better fit, I'm not just going to the highest bidder here.
Yeah, I almost guarantee you that he's the type of guy who would take a little bit less to go to a better team right now.
And that's the thing, like, Panarin did it. The Islanders offered him more money, but he was like, no, I want to be a Ranger. So he took whatever it was, $400K less, and he went to be a Ranger.
What a gentleman.
And some of these guys, they want to be looked at all the time. You want to be playing in a market that is, that's what you're there for. He probably go anywhere he wants right now, and no one's going to notice who the hell he is. Right, but he could come here and just run the city and just be part of it and just look at the '80s team, man. Like, everyone worked together back then. Yeah. I don't see why they can't do it now.
Changing gears a little bit, I need to get to Sherwood Ford's giant question of the day. Tyler put this out on ON Radio Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. Which goalie has impressed you more? We're going to play a little game here. Dan, look away from my screen.
I'm not looking at the screen.
I'm going to read you out the 2 goalies' stats, and you're going to tell me who is who. One goalie has a .246 goals against average with a .917 save percentage. The other has a .222 goals against average with a .926. Rick has his hand up in the air. He knows the answer to who is who.
Yeah, I think I know who too.
Let's go with the first one. We're going to go with the .246 goals against and a .917 save percentage. Daniel, what do you say?
That's Mike Smith.
No, that's Mikko, isn't it?
Everybody, we got a split room here. Nick, what do you think?
Man, I wrote an article about this last week, but I haven't checked since last game. I'm going to say it's Mike Smith.
So the 917, we think is Mike Smith.
And Rick,
we've got a Mikko over here with Tyler.
It's Mikko.
It's Mike. So 3 Mikes.
I just know Mikko.
1 Mikko.
Mikko's the better 5-on-5 goaltender is what I know for sure.
We got 3 Mikes and a Mikko. That is Mikko Koskinen. He is at a .246 goals against average with a .917. He is getting the start tonight against the Devils. So the question is, who's impressed you more overall? Tyler, I'm going to start with you.
Even though his numbers aren't as pretty, it's Mikko Koskinen to me. I think a lot of people were shitting on him coming into the year. A lot of the people, while they didn't expect Mike Smith to be top 10 in goals against and save percentage, they're expecting him to be a calming veteran presence between the pipes. I just think the way Mikko's come out and kind of proved his doubters wrong from last season has been really impressive to me. He's stolen them a couple games. Now, so is Smith. Like, this isn't me. I don't want to take jabs at Mike Smith with this.
Wow,
but
you hate Mike Smith.
They've both been
Mike Smith.
This is the whole, like, now I don't want to come across offensive, but
no. And
pick
Mike,
a side, God
both
damn it.
goalies have been unbelievable.
Mike Smith's been better.
Mike Smith has been Mikko Koskinen has been a little bit more surprising to me in the way he's performed.
Nick, what do you think?
I think they've obviously both have
Holy.
exceeded.
It's not
pick
about who's
a
better,
side.
Dan. The
Let-
question
pick
is
a side.
surprise.
Wow, maybe I'll pick a side if you let me fucking talk. I think both. It's fair to say both have been impressive since they both had awful seasons last year. They did, but I think it is Mikko Koskinen because just the amount of trash he got finishing the season off. Because maybe they don't forget, but Mike Smith was the best player for the Flames in the playoffs last year.
No doubt.
So even though when it didn't, it was six games, maybe even 5 games, but
It's a pretty small sample size.
he finished off the season strong. Mikko Koskinen did not. He was overworked for sure. But coming to the year, all anyone talked about was how bad the contract was, how Shrelly in his last hurrah screwed us for the one last time. And yeah, he's been great. The two of them have played well as a tandem, no doubt. It's just it'll be interesting to see if one of them really starts to falter, and then we have to rely on the other, and if they can sustain this, because I think they've just benefited from being able to play off each other.
Smith is the more surprising one to me because he's a veteran guy. He's a guy that came in and Calgary fans were laughing at us because we made this move. They thought he was.
But they picked up Talbot,
done.
meanwhile.
They
Fuck
did
Calgary
Talbot.
fans.
He's a guy that has come in and he surprised me even more so, I think, for his leadership ability. I followed him throughout his career. He was in Dallas, he was in Phoenix, all that kind of thing. But I didn't realize how much of a stabilizing factor he is for his team. And now when I see it with us, it's like it's so refreshing to watch a goalie just kind of take the reins and take control of the thing in his end of the ice.
I appreciate his passion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's the plays, it's the little plays here and there where like the puck gets cleared on our power play and it's like, oh yeah, we have Mike Smith out there and he can play the puck right up to the boys at the blue line again, kind of thing. And he gets an assist and he's already got 1/3 of Milan Lucic's output down in Calgary this year. So it's just, I think I don't disagree with your guys' points, but I'm more pleasantly surprised with Mike Smith than I have been with Mikko so far.
Rick?
It's a nice explanation, but you're wrong. I'm sorry. Honestly, Mike Smith's already done this before, so him going back to where he's been before is less of a surprise to me than seeing Mikko do what he's doing right now. Like I said, yeah, Mike's done this before. He had a bad year, and we kind of all assumed that it's probably a low mark on his career. He's the type of guy who's not going to accept that. He's the type of guy who's going to want to go out there and redeem himself, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. But either way, both goaltenders, they are doing what they're doing because the defensemen are better. I think this has a lot more to do with the 6 guys in front of them than it is to do with those goaltenders themselves. Don't get me wrong, what they've been doing is fantastic, but the fact that we can play a better defensive style game and those defensemen in front of them are better, that is what's making the overall in goaltending better.
I don't know.
5 on 5.
Look what happened last year when the goaltenders went down, when all the defensemen went down. Bang, right there. We went and shit the bed after that.
Yeah, but there's been so many games this year where we've just let the
We
guys
haven't even
get
played so
shelled.
many games this year.
There's
5
been
on 5 shots against per 60. Where do you think the Oilers rank?
30th. For or against?
Shots against. How many shots they allow at 5 on 5
I'm
per
gonna
game?
say, I'm going to say bottom third for sure.
We
The Oilers
allow a lot.
have allowed the 4th least shots against.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
A couple of bad games.
Unless
but,
I sorted it the wrong way.
but even those games where there was like 49 and 52 shots or something stupid like that, they were not like 52 shots we've seen before where they're just kind of getting bombarded and it was just like
There's a lot to the
it was
outside.
just going. A lot of those, I was talking to Mandees about this after that one game, the Pittsburgh game. Yeah, they had a shit ton of shots, but it didn't feel like they had that many shots. Like, yeah, you know what? We didn't have a lot of play, but it was not that dangerous. And that is the
disagree
guys
on
that play
that
in front of
one.
them.
I disagree on that
It's
game
two.
specifically.
No, it's you can because there's 2 of us.
Oh, I can, and I did.
Yes, this is a democracy, and there's 2 of us saying yes, and you saying no. It's 2
Who's
over.
saying
I was right. The
Me and
Oilers have allowed
Mandrick.
the fourth least shots against per 60 at
I don't
5 on
believe you
5.
because Mandrick isn't here to tell me that he's voting with me. But that Penguins game, there was a lot of chances, especially right in front of the net. Crosby had a chance wide open in front of the net.
Crosby's going to get chances. You can't stop that. But what I'm saying is, it wasn't like you weren't sitting there holding your breath, going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god."
Was.
No,
I absolutely
They're
was.
There's no
14th
way.
in
You
scoring
should have
chances
been a
against
couple
and
beers
top
deep
10
by
in
then.
high danger chances against. They limit chances.
100%. The goaltenders are doing a fantastic job. But this is definitely very much helped because the defensemen are better.
Every team gives up breakaways and 2-on-1s and good
Especially
chances,
to
right?
Crosby.
We have one more sponsorship segment to take care of, correcto?
We do, my friend. Get your buttons ready. It is time for the Tourism Jasper Hot and Cold Performer of the Week. We are going to start off down the table with Rick. I want to know, we are going to start off with the bad news first this week. Who is your cold performer of the week?
I think the cold I'm going to go along with Coach Tip here.
Oh,
and it's Pearson. He's had an opportunity to become a real staple in that spot, and he hasn't taken it.
To be fair though, do you think maybe he was thrown into the deep end of the pool before he was necessarily ready? He's playing big minutes alongside Clefbaum.
Okay, but so's the 74 ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that is honestly an excuse or a reason, but I don't think it's enough of one. This guy's come in here. He was being expected to take a top 6 spot to begin with, and now he's being given a hell of an opportunity, and I just don't think he's grabbing it and running with it.
Dan, your cold performer of the week.
I'm sticking with the prospects.
Yes, I love this.
And so it's actually somebody that I had a lot of high hopes for this year. It's Kirill Maximov. There you go. He had after having 79 points in 63 games last year in the OHL in his final year, he's now at the Condors and he's got a big fat 0 points through 9 games. So he's playing low. He's playing low in the lineup, but he's not getting anything done down there, and you know, for a guy that had a lot of promise in his overage year, he's not showing it so far.
We gotta show a little patience for the kid.
I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm just saying he's the cold performer of the week. Cold performer of the week.
That is true. This is a friendly reminder that Dan did say Leon Draisaitl should be in the AHL last year.
No, I was hacked.
As far as hot takes go, that one was scorching. Yeah, at the beginning of last season.
Okay.
This is only Oilers Nation Radio episode 60 part 2. So
that's fair.
We can't go back that far. Nick Lausgood at the end of the table. Who is your cold performer of the week?
Oh, man, it's got to be Yaremchuk, right? I mean, yeah, does that mean my answer sucks?
I think Nick took that really personally.
Yeah. No, that just means Yaremchuk's performance was bad.
Go ahead.
He's had top 6 opportunities. He's had opportunities up and down the lineup, and then he sees himself getting waived. I mean, ain't nothing colder than that.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, you're up. Cold performer of the week.
I am not going with a player.
Okay. Ooh. I like this.
After watching the games this week, my cold performer of the week is without a doubt, and you guys got to let me go for a second here, the NHL officials. Not the McDavid. Take the McDavid O'Reilly thing out of this, guys, and let me go off on a rant here. It's an absolute joke, the amount of shit that NHL star players need to deal with on a nightly basis. And we see it as Oilers fans. We see Draisaitl going in on a partial tour or on a partial breakaway, and whoever on St. Louis decides, well, if I just grab his arm, the refs aren't going to call it. We had McDavid going down against Ekman Larsson. We had Draisaitl going down against Ekman Larsson against Arizona. Clear-cut lanes to the net. They're about to drive wide, and they just hold on and go for the ride, and the refs don't call it because for some reason, hockey culture has this idea that good players just need to play through it, and the game is gritty. And all you're doing by not calling this is you're lessening the skill gap, and you're cheapening the product of the NHL. The officials have been guilty of it for a long time. Go look at the top 10 guys in terms of penalties drawn this year. You barely see any star players littered in that mix. Connor McDavid's not in there, and he probably does actually have the most drawn penalties in the NHL. They don't get called. Refs turn blind eyes to skilled players, and it needs to fucking stop.
Spicy, my friend.
Thank you.
Wow.
Shout out to Gritty in there. I like that.
My cold performer of the week is going to also not be a player, but more 2 players. And you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be cold performers. I'm going to put my cold performer of the week at Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl being infinitely readable on 2-on-1s.
Okay.
Everybody knows if Connor has the puck, he is going to try to feed it across crease to Leon. Or vice versa. There was a 2-on-1.
Connor McDavid.
No. There was a 2-on-1 as an example against St. Louis where Leon was coming in with Sam Gagner on a 2-on-1, and he tries to pass across. Dudes, this is me begging you. You are easily the best players on the ice. Shoot the fucking puck, man. If you're going to pass, Why not? Let's try one of those things where they shoot low on the goalie's pads and fish for rebounds. Why don't we try to mix it up a little bit? I just feel like those two are so good. And again, don't shit on me if you're listening to this.
No shit on them.
You can shit on me if you want. I'm just saying, I wish they would mix it up a little bit more than always looking for the pass. They are so good. They are so much better than everybody else that always looking for the pass on a 2-on-1 is my cold performance of the week.
I'll give you that too with Leon passing to Sam Gauthier.
I don't even
Instead
get
of
a
shooting.
I don't even get a button because Tyler's not even listening to this podcast
Tyler's
anymore.
upset. He's looking at his phone bill from the Sebastien Bisaillon
It
call.
only cost me $5 in Skype money.
All right, on the good news, everybody, Tourism Jasper Hot and Cold Performers of the Week coming at you right now. Since Tyler's not paying attention, I'm going to start with him and his Hot Performer of the Week.
Actually, I'm surprised that, did anyone go with Nugent-Hopkins for their cold performer?
Yeah, I was going to call out
Yeah,
for not doing that, but he loves Nuge. So
Yeah,
I was going to. If you want, we can talk about Nuge to end off this podcast, but
fair
Hot
enough.
Performer of the Week, go ahead.
My Hot Performer of the Week is Zach Kassian.
This is hot.
He's been very good in my eyes. They moved him off McDavid's line for a little bit, and he continued to be effective. I liked the look of him next to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I thought he injected Neil and Nuge with a little bit of energy, and then they put him back with McDavid and Draisaitl, and he scores. Simple as that. Hot Performer, Zach Kassian. Keep it up, 44.
Nicolaus Good, your Hot Performer of the Week.
It's got to be Gaetan Haas.
First NHL goal.
Gaetan Haas is playing unreal out of all the unknown European guys, and we brought in quite a few. We didn't. Ken Holland did, but we called him a couple times, told him what we thought was up. But no, Gaetan Haas has been probably one of the more impressive ones out of them. He's on the right side of possession numbers as far as the team goes, with expected goals percentage in Corsi, and he's playing a bottom six role. So he's doing exactly what Dave Tippett had. I think it was Tyler that I had mentioned before, where you got in the bottom six, you got to have speed and kill penalties, play well defensively. He's been doing that. So Gaetan Haas.
Daniel, your Hot Performer of the Week.
Well, Bag Milk, I'm afraid to point this one out because now Rick's going to want to call him up too, but it has to be Tyler Benson.
I did suggest bringing him up.
With 2 goals and an assist in his last week, he is the Hot Performer in Baco.
Rick, your Hot Performer.
I don't get a button.
No button.
Tyler.
That's hot.
That was a charity button there.
The charity button. Rick, your Hot Performer.
Well, it wasn't the greatest week, so there really is no pumping anyone's tires here. But I will say someone who's kind of getting by without doing too many negatives. There's no real positives to him, but we'll give it to young Patrick Russell. He's just, like I said, he's just kind of getting the job done out there.
This is hot.
That was a pregnant
Well, I wait for a good spot to throw it in.
That's fair. Yeah, no, like I said, not a lot of positives, but there's very little negatives out of the guy. He's undersized. He's out there. He's always trying. He's giving it his all. But after this kind of week, there's not really too much to say.
My Hot Performer of the Week is going to go to Oscar Klefbom.
That's really hot.
He's leading the team in average time on ice. He's playing massive minutes in all situations. 25-42 right now. The other night against St. Louis, he played almost 28 minutes. He is a massive, massive part of a revamped defensive core. And have you seen his abs lately? Should I tweet the image a little bit more?
Was he not your Hot Performer of the Week last week?
What's wrong with some Klefbom love?
I'm just curious. I mean,
have you looked at him? God, he's glorious.
I have my opinions, but I'll keep them to myself.
He is a finely sculpted piece of marble.
I don't want to.
Tell us.
You can't pressure me.
All right.
I'll get you sick again, Dan.
Yeah. Still
Oscar Klefbom is my Hot Performer of the Week.
That's hot.
Just
Do you even know what the simple life is, Tyler?
No.
Okay.
Just a couple of real quick items just to wrap up this week's podcast. The trip to Calgary is what, Dan? About half sold?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's flying off the shelves.
We are going down to Calgary on January 11th. That is up. Go to backsideTours.com to get your tickets. We now have a link set up if you are in Calgary and you just want a ticket to sit with us. So that is set up down there. You can also go to Oilersnation.com, check out my article on that. We are going to Calgary. I also want to we got a note, Jay, Nick, I don't remember we were all there last night. We have a scout friend over in Finland right now who's looking at Jesse Puljujarvi, and we asked for a scouting report on him, and it was a simple 3-letter scouting report. Meh. Not ideal. However,
And one assist in a 4-goal game for the Finns.
when asked about it, he said people are definitely interested in Jesse, but I don't know how much anyone wants to pay to get him. So
Swedes don't like Finns anyway, so I'm gonna take that with a little grain of salt.
So there's a quick Jesse Puljujarvi update. And again, if you want to talk about a cold performer of the week, Tourism Jasper, you can put Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on there. Everybody's talking about it.
Tough week.
It's a tough week for Nuge. He had some horrible giveaways against St. Louis to end off that game, especially when the net pulled. Nobody is going to deny that. Tyler and I were going into it on the Beatcast after the game on Instagram.
Can I come on again today?
Yeah. Who knows what time I'm going to record, though, tonight, because I'm going to the game. So I'll be going
We should
home
meet up
after
at
work.
Rogers.
We could.
And then have the Oilers kick us out for broadcasting live in the arena.
Wouldn't be the first time I broadcasted live in there. So, yeah, Nuge has had a rough week, but I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction for tonight that he scores a goal. And not only does he score a goal, it is going to be a 5-on-5 goal.
Love it.
That's all for episode 60, part Deux. This is Oilers Nation.
Sorry.
This is Oilers Nation Radio. Tell a friend about it. Tell your parents. Tell anybody you know to download, subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts from.
Shout out Damien.
Best wishes. Thanks for listening to Oilers Nation Radio, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media to stay up to date and never miss a podcast.